Hello, beautiful people of the internet. How are you doing today? My name is Jackie and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be completing the Anti TBR tag. This is a classic tag on BookTube. It was originally created by Nicole and her books. I will link her original video in the description. This is basically a series of questions about books that you personally never want to read. I know this is an old tag, but I just thought it would be fun to do, and there are some questions on here that I personally really wanted to answer, so I am excited for this. Since this is an old tag, I'm not planning to tag anyone, but if you want to film this video yourself, consider yourself tagged and let me know in the comments if you plan to film one yourself. I would love to go check out your answers. With that being said, let's get right to question 1. The first question, what is a book that everyone loves but you personally have no interest in? My first thought for this was The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. This was an extremely hyped booktube book. I saw so many people give it 5 stars, say it's one of their all-time favorites, and nothing against the author, but the concept of this book just does not personally catch my interest. This book is basically a fantasy novel that is about a home where magical children are sent. And I've heard that it's, so delightful and emotional and heartwarming. And that's all well and good. Just personally, the concept of this book I don't think fits my personal tastes. I'm not a huge fantasy reader. I do like fantasy, but I don't read it that often. And I just don't know if I'm into this sort of... This sounds bad, but I don't know if I'm really a heartwarming, emotional books person. Generally speaking, my favorite books are murder mysteries. So this is just not necessarily my vibe. This book also might be young adult. I don't know what age group it's technically targeted at, but just the description of the plot has never personally appealed to me. It's just, I personally was never interested in it. But if you love it, hey, I'm happy for you. It's just not my sort of thing. The next question is a classic book or author you have no interest in reading. I love classic books. However, there are definitely some classics that just personally do not sound interesting to me. Honestly, I've thought about making an entire video discussing classic books that I am personally not interested in. For this video, I will just name one. And I will say I have absolutely no interest in reading Moby Dick by Herman Melville. I've heard people say it is amazing. I've heard some people say it's their favorite book of all time. But the plot of Captain Ahab, trying to catch this white whale, it does not sound interesting to me at all. And maybe it's actually an awesome book, but if I'm being completely honest, I do not see myself ever picking this book up. At this point in time, at least. Also, generally speaking, I like books that have female characters in it, and I'm pretty sure Moby Dick does not pass the Bechdel test. That's just my personal taste. I like books that have women and female relationships in them, female friendships, because I just personally can relate to that better, and that's just my personal preference. So this concept, nothing against you if you love this book, it's just not for me, I don't think. The next question is a problematic author whose books you have no interest in reading. I will say I do not really like the word problematic because every single person in this world has made mistakes. Me, you, everyone. We've all done wrong things in the past, but at the same time, there are some mistakes that, in my opinion, are just not forgivable. And so I am going to name an author who did something that, in my opinion, is unforgivable. And I'm talking about Anne Perry. So Anne Perry is a famous or was, she is now dead, was a famous historical mystery author. She is best known for her Thomas and Charlotte Pitt series, which is a historical mystery series set in Victorian era London. Thomas Pitt is a detective with Scotland Yard, and Charlotte is I think, a high society girl who the two of them end up meeting, somehow end up solving a case together, and in later books in the series they get married. Anne Perry then even wrote a sequel series, the Daniel Pitt series, which is set in the 20th century and follows Daniel, who is the son of Thomas and Charlotte. And now you're probably saying, Jackie, this series of books sounds perfect for you. You love historical mysteries with a good romantic sleuthing duo. And you're right, I do love that. So these books sound like they should be right up my alley. So why won't I read them? And the reason I won't read them is because Anne Perry was a terrible person. I don't know if you know this, but Anne Perry literally murdered someone. And no, I'm not joking. She killed someone and went to jail. For real. Anne Perry's real name was Juliet Hume, and when she was underage, her and a friend of hers killed said friend's mother, and she went to prison. When she was released, she moved to Scotland and changed her name to Anne Perry, and when it came out that she went to jail for murder, it actually made the Thomas and Charlotte Pitt books more popular because a lot of sick people out there wanted to read murder mysteries that were written by an actual murderess. Based on clips I've seen of Anne Perry talking about this, she had absolutely no remorse for what she did, and all she really cared about was how it was going to affect her reputation. She didn't seem apologetic at all, and even if she had been apologetic, would that have made a difference? She took somebody's life, and that's just wrong. If it's not in self-defense, it's inexcusable, and hers doesn't seem to have been in self-defense. It was a cold-blooded murder. And it's the reason why I don't intend to read Anne Perry, even though her books would probably interest me. I don't know, maybe now that she's dead, I could feel better reading the books because she is not alive to profit off of them anymore. It's just personally, I would feel bad using my platform to talk about books written by such a horrible woman. Maybe I could do it now since she's dead and she's obviously not benefiting monetarily from those books anymore, but I still feel really icky about it because, I don't know, how can I pick up a book of hers and read it knowing that the person who wrote the book did this thing to someone? That just is kind of a moral dilemma for me, and I don't think I can ever look past that, even though her books sound really good. Yeah, but go do some research into that if you want to know about how Anne Perry killed someone. Wow. Anyways. The next question, an author you have read a couple of books from but have decided that they are not for you. I'm going to say Megan Golden. I have read, I think, 3 Megan Golden books. I read The Escape Room, The Night Swim, and most recently Stay Awake. I just read that a month or 2 ago. And I honestly did not like any of these books. So at this point, nothing personal against Megan Golden. I just think her books are not really for me, I know a lot of people really do love her writing, and The Night Swim in particular received so many 5-star reviews. Personally, I didn't like it because I felt like the way the book went, in my opinion, was really obvious, and that's kind of just the issue that I've had with all of her books, is I felt like they've either been really obvious or just not super well constructed, in my personal opinion. I'm sorry, I feel bad when I criticize somebody's books because I know they worked really hard on them, but this is just my personal opinion, and obviously lots of other people feel differently. That's the great thing about art, is lots of people can have different opinions about it. So it's nothing personal against her. I think, I've just given her 3 chances and it's never really worked out. So I'm going to spend my time reading authors that I personally like better. The next question is a genre you have no interest in or a genre you tried to get into but couldn't. Honestly, there are a lot of genres that I'm not interested in. Erotica. I will never read an erotica book. That's just not my stuff, but you know, if it's your thing, you do you. I would also say I'm not that interested in sci-fi. I wouldn't say never, but I think it's just not my personal taste. Like, I've never heard about a sci-fi book and felt compelled to pick it up, you know? I think just personally, it's not something that really fits my interests, but of course I have nothing against it, and if you love sci-fi, I'm happy for you, you know? It's just not my personal taste. And erotica, it's never gonna happen. I'm not really into that, you know? But that's just me. So if you're into it, hey, you do you. I support you 100%. The next question is a book you bought but will never read. You can also, for this question, say a book you returned to the library unread or a book you have unhauled. I still have a stack of unhauled books on my floor over there that I plan to get rid of soon for an upcoming video. But to make this a little more interesting, I'm going to try to pick a book that I have not unhauled yet, just to give you a different answer and not talk about a book I've already discussed in an unhaul video. All right, so my answer for this one is going to be Wicked Like a Wildfire by Lana Popovic. This is a young adult fantasy that I bought probably in like 2017 or something, I don't remember. And at this point, like, I haven't unhauled it yet, but odds are I'm probably not gonna read this one. I know it has a really low Goodreads rating, and I'm not really into young adult fantasy anymore. I don't really read young adult books at this point in my life. And like I said, I like fantasy, but it's definitely not my most read genre. I probably only read a couple of fantasy books every single year, and the ones that I do read are ones that I'm really, really excited about. So odds are this book is probably not getting read. I don't even remember what it's about. But I bought it because the cover is stunning. And I still stand by that. It's so beautiful. Like, I love the colors, the flowers. It is a stunning book. But I just don't know if it fits my taste at this point in life. It was a cover buy, and it's possibly not getting read. You are beautiful, though. Gorgeous. The next question is a series you have no interest in reading or a series you started but have DNF'd. To be honest, there are a lot of young adult fantasy series that I started back when I was into that sort of thing, and I do not see myself ever finishing them. But a series that I do not intend to ever read is ACOTAR, A Court of Thorns and Roses, or really anything by Sarah J. Maas. I know she's so popular on BookTube, just in all of the book communities online, but she does not appeal to me. I will not read her books. I am not into fae smut. No offense if you are. Again, you do you. No judgment from me. It just does not appeal to me whatsoever. You know, I can read books that have sex scenes. I've read Game of Thrones. I've read Outlander. But I read those because I like the rest of the plot, and I just skip, like, over the sexy bits. And I think the sexiness is kind of like the main draw of ACOTAR. So why would I read it? Also, I kind of personally feel like books with fae human relationships are kind of weird. Makes me a little uncomfortable, but that's just a me thing. And I just do not intend to ever read Sarah J. Maas's books. It's not for me, but no judgment. If you love her, like, that's cool. Whatever. Recently, for some reason, my Facebook account has been recommending me a Sarah J. Maas fan page over and over. Like, keeps putting posts from it in my timeline, and I keep dismissing them, saying I'm not interested in Facebook, and they keep coming back. I don't know why Facebook insists on shoving Sarah J. Maas down my throat. I keep telling them I'm not interested, yet she keeps coming back. Facebook, I'm not interested, okay? I don't know what made you think that I am, but I'm not. It's not my thing. And the final question in this tag, what is a new release that you have no interest in? Personally, I'm gonna say 0 Days by Ruth Ware. To be honest, this book, I haven't heard a lot of people talk about it, and I almost originally said The It Girl. But then I was like, wait a minute, didn't The It Girl come out last year? Yeah, it did, and 0 Days is her new book that came out 2 months ago. Personally, I haven't seen that many reviews for it on BookTube, which is kind of surprising because I know so many people on BookTube love Ruth Ware. And the reason I have no interest in reading 0 Days or The It Girl is because I've read many books by Ruth Ware and I've liked some of them. Like I have The Death of Mrs. Westaway on my shelf. I have The Turn of the Key, and I gave both of those 4 stars. Like I liked them fine, but I've just never had a book from her that really wowed me. And because of that, I think I'm just not going to read her in the future. And again, it's nothing against her. I don't have any problems with her. I don't have any problems with people who like her. It's just, you know, there are so many books out there that I want to read. And so I'd rather invest my time reading books by authors I have really liked in the past or new authors that I have high hopes for. Like, I don't want to spend my time continuing to read Ruth Ware's books when they're probably just going to be a 3, maybe a 4, but they're not going to be favorites or anything like that, you know? So that's my opinion on that. So everyone, that was my Anti TBR tag. Once again, if you would like to complete this tag yourself, consider yourself tagged and let me know in the comment section that you intend to film this video. I would love to go see your answers. If you are still here watching, why don't you leave a book stack emoji in the comments, or you can let me know what's a popular book you personally have no interest in reading. I would love to hear from you. My social media links are down below if you want to follow me on Tumblr, Instagram, or be my friend on Goodreads. Please give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more from me. I post new videos every Wednesday and Sunday. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day. Bye, and I'll see you next time.